And now joining us is Mr. Tom Djokovic. He's the CEO of XSNX Incorporated. XSNX is the stock symbol. Tom, good to see you again.
Great to be here, Don.
You know, we were just talking about oil from algae. Now we're going to talk about solar power. So it's a very green segment of the program here. And I understand that the company was just at a very large solar power convention down in San Diego a week ago. Why don't you tell us about that?
Oh yeah, Don. It's called Solar Trade Show here in the United States. It's the largest one in the United States. We've attended several years in a row. And this year, another great turnout. They had, I think, over 27,000 attendees, 7,000 more than they anticipated. We had a lot of interest at our booth for the delivery of our products starting next year when we get our factory done, our solar modules. We were able to market real heavily the aspects of the benefits of how amorphous silicon outperforms on a per watt basis, other technologies. That attracted a lot of interest. So we've got a pretty good sized sales channel we developed from the show that we're going to start marketing to. But you know what the really exciting thing about the show, and investors may say, well, isn't it sales? I'd say, well, absolutely, yeah, opportunity for sales. But what we saw was an enormous increase in the professional infrastructure, the engineers, the planners, the installers, the financiers in this to help grow this industry. And that's what it's going to take. And when they talk about 1 million solar roofs in California, it takes a lot of manpower, a lot of people power to get that in place. And we saw an enormous growth there, which is very, very exciting about the, it bodes well for the future of the business. It basically says like all these projects that we're looking at bidding, or supplying panels to, they're going to have the infrastructure necessary to actually put them in place. Very exciting.
Well, it's interesting because, of course, solar power is being looked at primarily as an electricity generator, but all it really takes is a $5 a gallon of gasoline to get people thinking about other alternative forms of energy.
Oh, yeah.
Really amazing stuff. How's the things coming along in Portland?
Well, Portland's coming along quite well. We've got the permits ready to pull. We're trying to identify the contractors that are obviously the what we call the most responsible, responsive individuals. Not necessarily we're hoping that's also the lowest bidder, but that's what we're trying to identify right now for some of the projects. Some of the other projects ready to go ahead and get going on. But things are going on. We've actually started to hire a few more people, and things are progressing quite well. Our vendors are moving along. We're still looking to get in the factory completed next year.
We talked a lot on this program in recent weeks about the financial bailout program or the financial rescue package, depending which perspective you're looking at it from. But there was an investment tax credit that was put into this bill that really helps your company. Tell us about that.
Well, the ITC now, it allows utilities to actually take advantage of the 30% tax credit, which was not part of the original one. It's taken the limit off of the homeowners. They can take 30% apparently off of the total dollar amount instead of just a $2,000 or $2,500 cap. That's significant. And there's been some talk at the show at various different CEO roundtables as to, well, will the current winds of the financial community slow down investment in this area? And some people are arguing yes, and other people are arguing no. Interestingly, the CEO from Q-Cells, a large German manufacturer, said their cost to install on a per watt basis in Germany right now is about 7.30 euros per watt. They said in Italy alone, that equates to grid parity costs. Wow. That means there's zero financial incentive required. And there's literally hundreds and hundreds of gigawatts of power production, conventional power production right now around the planet that right now, based on just the German costs, would equate to deployment under the German cost would equate to grid parity electricity that don't really require financing necessarily or incentives. I mean, everything requires financing, but they don't need necessarily the incentives to make financial sense immediately. And that's a very interesting, very, very strong statement because there's only been, there's very few gigawatts of actually solar installed. There's many hundreds of gigawatts of power that we're already parity on. So that's a very, very strong signal for which direction this business may go.
A couple of years ago, you predicted that was going to happen. Again, Tom Djokovic, XSNX is the stock symbol. Tom, always good to have you on.
Thanks, Don.
Thanks. Bye. Well, be sure to join me Sunday evening in the Money Wrap radio program as we're going to talk about the final rounds of this boxing match known as the presidential election. To find a radio station near you, go to moneywrap.com. Call us right now, 888-259-4449 for free information in the mail about our featured guests, including Dynamic Alert and XSNX Incorporated. Again, 888-259-4449. When you do call, be sure and ask to be added to the subscription list of our Money TV newsletter, email publication every week in the email box, 888-259-4449, or visit us at moneytv.net. That's our program this week. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next time.